Hey everybody, it is J-Web from Web Squad. I usually don't do videos like this, but I wanted to jump on the bandwagon and give a little bit of my opinion on what I think of retheming Splash Mountain into Princess and the Frog. So I'm gonna give you my top 7 reasons why that should happen. Stay tuned, you're gonna love it. Reason number 1, the ride is so old. Like, it used to be one of my favorite rides in the park, but they have all these really just better rides that have been popping up. And I think to be able to stay in the conversation as a really good ride, they just need to update it. The ride came out in 1989. I don't know enough about America Sings, but all those animatronics from the America Sings show that they used to have, they brought over to Splash Mountain. And so I don't know how old those animatronics are, but they look old, they move old, and I think they need to do an update anyways on those animatronics. So why not just, while they're updating the animatronics, just do that with Princess and the Frog and start the retheming. Like I said, I used to love the ride. It was probably my favorite ride at Disneyland when I was younger, but I just think it's lacking a little bit of pizzazz. It's lacking a little bit of magic. By the way, you should probably take all my opinions very seriously because as you can see, I'm a huge Disney fan. It's like the only Disney picture I have in my house. So of course I had to record in front of it. And I'm even wearing my Wreck-It Ralph shirt. That's way too small for me now because I've gained weight, but that's besides the point. The last 2 times I went to Disneyland, the ride broke down a couple times. When I went through both times, it felt like half the animatronics were missing. I don't know if they're just fixing them, refurbishing them, but yeah, it's something that needs to change, and they can make those animatronics a lot more exciting and lifelike. Most people that are watching this probably know that the ride is based off of Song of the South. And it has that awesome catchy tune in it, zippity doo dah through the whole thing. I love that song. It's one of the reasons I fell in love with the ride in the first place when I was younger. But it doesn't appeal to a very broad audience. Let's face it, most little kids, they're not gonna know what Song of the South is. My little girl knows what Song of the South is, but that's because we've watched a ton of clips on YouTube and I'm a Disney freak. Most other kids, if their parents aren't Disney freaks, they're not gonna know, so let's appeal to all of the younger kids. And not just younger kids, but Disney fans in general. Let's appeal to all of them. Everyone knows the movie Princess and the Frog. Most people don't know Song of the South. And Disney's all about their appeal. That's how they make their moolah. When Disney first started Disneyland, when he first was dreaming it up, he was gonna build just a small park. And then that dream just kept building and building and building until it became what it is today. After Disneyland became a reality, he realized it was too small. His brain kept working, he started turning out more ideas, and he didn't buy a big enough plot of land. So therefore, Disneyland is not really big enough to add a lot of extra rides. They just added Star Wars Land and took up basically almost all the space they have. One of the arguments I keep hearing is, oh, well, don't take away Splash Mountain. It's such an iconic ride. If you want Princess and the Frog, go add it somewhere else. Make its own ride, do it justice. Well, guess what? There's no place to add it. So to those people that really want a Princess and the Frog ride, this is probably the easiest way and one of the only ways you're ever gonna get it. So get behind this, get behind the retheming, and let's make it happen. Also, I know there's that group of people out there that want to hold on to the past, but Disney would have wanted this. I'm gonna butcher this quote. I'll go ahead and throw it up right now, but right now it's going off of memory. As long as there's still imagination in this world, Disneyland will never be complete. It will always be growing and changing and adding to it. Did I get it? So Disney was all about continuing to just create new magic. He was never wanting to be okay with the finished product. And so a lot of people I've heard, oh, you changed this ride or you changed that ride, Disney would be rolling in his grave. Well, first of all, Disney had nothing to do with this ride. He was gone before this ride was built or even thought into a concept. But I do know that Disney would want magic and imagination still running rampant in his parks. And so to change a ride, that's okay. that's okay. Just get on board with it. It's the Disney way, and the faster you get used to, things changing in the parks, the happier you're gonna be. Point number 5, Splash Mountain is a fun ride, but it could be so much better. One of the reasons I went from loving Splash Mountain to only merely liking it is because I realized that it lacked a sense of fun. And there's probably a bazillion people out there that still think that it's really fun, but I'm just imagining like Ray, singing along with Ray, going down the bayou. We've done so much with the newer rides. Since that ride opened in the 80s, obviously what they're able to do has come a really long way. And so I'm just imagining like going down the bayou, singing along with Ray, having all of these fireflies kind of light the way and just taking me deeper and deeper into it, and having that soundtrack throughout that whole ride, I think would be so awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and link a video. It's LGM vids right down at the bottom. That's my Korg impression. Go ahead and watch it. LGM vids took the footage from Splash Mountain and they put Princess and the Frog over it. Trust me, you're gonna like it. It just kind of shows just the excitement that soundtrack can bring to the ride. Instead of, again, I love the song Zippity Doo Dah Day throughout the whole thing. You can have 5, 6 songs from the actual movie playing the whole time, and they can theme it into parts of the ride. One of the guys that pitched this on Twitter, he spent like a year figuring this out and how the ride would flow if they rethemed it. My wife and I have talked about it, like pillow talk as we're driving in the car. We've talked about it a little bit, but I haven't put a whole year of thinking into it, and this guy nails it. Another thing that I think would just be so fun is, you hit that hill and you're going up to the top, and by this time the Shadow Man, Dr. Facilier song is playing. Are you ready? Boom, 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 boom. And I can just imagine going up that hill. You got like the shadow voodoo people going up the hill with you, and little voodoo faces dancing around, and then you go up to the top. You like go to that big voodoo face that takes him to the underworld. I don't know where he goes. But yeah, you go through that and you plunge. I think would be amazing. It would be so much fun. And so retheming that, just tons of fun throughout the whole entire ride. And now it's time to address the elephant in the room. Disney is politically correct, people. There's a young man by the name of Bart Gamer Plays? Bart the Gamer Plays? I don't know, I'm gonna link his video. I actually saw it and I thought I'm gonna make my own video because that kid inspired me. He's all about saving Splash Mountain and not changing a thing. But he makes a good point that Song of the South is racist, but the ride itself is not. And so obviously a lot of people's thinking is, well, there's nothing racist in the ride, why are you taking it away? I know when they first were thinking about making that ride, Brer Rabbit gets stuck in the honey as right before you go up that hill. In the movie, it was actually a tar baby. The fox made a tar baby to catch the rabbit, and he thinks it's a little black boy and ends up getting caught in the tar. So wisely, Disney changed that before they made the ride and made it honey. So there's nothing racist in the ride, but the fact is, it's still based off of a racist movie. If Disney hadn't already made a big deal about Song of the South, I could see this ride just continuing on the way it is. Or if maybe some of these things that are happening in the world now hadn't come to light, it would just continue on the way it is. But on Disney Plus, what they've done is they edit some of the things out, and not just racism in some of their movies, but language or scenes that might not be good for kids. They've edited those things out, or they've put a disclaimer before the movie starts telling you this is what's in the movie, viewer discretion advised, and smoking is a big one. They try and change those things, or at least let people be aware of those things, but they're not doing that with Song of the South. They have decided not to stream it at all. They do not distribute it anymore, and so to me, Disney does not want to touch that subject of racism. With everything that's happening, it only makes sense that they're going to re-theme this ride eventually. So why not have it be Princess and the Frog? Which brings me to my next point. It just makes sense. People, they don't want the classics gone. They love the the heck is the word? Retro? No, not retro. Why can't I think of it? Nostalgia. They love the nostalgia of the parks, and it's something I love too. It's one of my favorite things about walking into Disney. But Disney, when they retheme something, it kicks butt. They're retheming Bugs Land. They rethemed Pixar Pier. They've basically rethemed all of Disney California Adventure. It wouldn't have survived without retheming it because it was so out of date. They've rethemed Monsters Inc. was rethemed into what it is today. It was Hollywood Star Power Express Tour. I don't remember the name. Nobody wanted them. Hardly any, well, I wanted them to because I love Guardians, but hardly anyone wanted them to retheme Tower of Terror, but here it is today. Probably one of the best rides in the park. I only say that because I've heard everyone ride it. I've actually never been on it yet, but that's besides the point. That's a whole nother story. And it's not because I'm too scared. But yes, Disney shows that when they retheme something, they can totally just blow it out of the water, hit a home run, and it's awesome. You are in New Orleans Square. You are on the bayou. You go past Pirates of the Caribbean and you go into New Orleans Square, and then there's the Haunted Mansion. So why not the next ride over be a New Orleans or bayou themed ride anyways? I have been on a Disney cruise. Tianas Place. When I was on a Disney cruise was probably the best food I ever had. It was some of the funnest theming I've ever seen in a restaurant. They had Tiana walking around. We got up and we danced with her. Food was awesome, and I think that they could change that Hungry Bear area into a Tiana's Place, which would be absolutely fantastic. And I think it would really raise the interest in that area of the park. Most of the movie is them floating down the bayou on a log. They already have the logs. They already have the water. To me, it makes perfect sense, and I wonder why this hasn't happened before. A lot of things in this world don't make sense, but this probably makes more sense than anything I've heard in like the last year. So Disney, just do it. But the new technology that they use with rides nowadays, they could absolutely make this ride amazing. And I'm even like envisioning it in my head, and it's making me so excited. Like the last scene, as you turn that last bend and all the characters are waving at you, I can see it as like the wedding scene and Naveen and Tiana turning from frogs back into humans again, and just what they could do with that. There's so much, and the possibilities are endless. So yes, update the ride, retheme it. It's gonna be awesome. Get on board with it, because I figure it's gonna happen eventually. So what do you think? Retheme it or not? And if they do retheme it, is there anything other than Princess and the Frog that you'd want to see? I did hear one other cool thing on Twitter is Emperor's New Groove. That would be sweet. It would cost a lot of money, major overhauls. Probably won't happen, but a guy can dream. Imagine going through Emperor's New Groove, the whole the whole storyline, and then like that's the water slide at the end. So instead of like a scary thing going up that hill, it can just be a really fun, lighthearted ride. With that water slide to end the ride there. But anyways, let me know what you think. And bonus points to whoever can tell me what college has an Easter egg in the Splash Mountain ride. So I'm gonna link the LGM vids. I'm gonna link Bart Gamer Plays down in the description, his rant that I watched. And I'm also going to link the opening ceremonies of Splash Mountain, because if you love the 80s and you love Disney, then you're gonna love this video. It's basically everything great about those two things rolled into one, and it's pretty ridiculous. So those three things linked in the description. Go ahead and watch them. Let me know what you think. Share your comments here, and I'll talk to y'all later. Hey, and before you go, like and subscribe to my channel. It's actually my family's channel, and we do fun challenges. We always have a blast, so like, subscribe, check us out.